Good morning, all of you. Today we are starting chapter 12, the problem of poverty in India. Now, problem of poverty in India is not a new concept. This is a chronic problem in India. We all know generally by poverty we mean when people are not even able to get the basic necessities of life like food, clothing, and shelter. The problem of poverty in India, as I told you before, is a chronic problem. It is nothing new, and although poverty has been reduced greatly in many parts of the world, countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America are still characterized by the existence of acute poverty. One third of the population of these developing countries still remain in severe poverty. So poverty is considered to be one of the biggest challenges to development planning in India. Unless and until we are not going to remove poverty from our country, development completely is not possible. Economic growth as such is meaningless if a sizable segment of the society remains poor. High poverty level is synonymous with poor quality of life, deprivation, malnutrition, illiteracy, and low human resource development. The slogan of poverty eradication has been adopted by all political parties in one form or the other. Despite various schemes and programs adopted to achieve the objective of eradication of poverty, the problem of poverty continues to haunt the Indian economy. The concept of poverty as such can be defined in two ways: absolute poverty and relative poverty. Now, income poverty as such refers to lack of basic necessities of material well-being. And on the other hand, the concept of human poverty refers to denial of opportunity for living a tolerable life. So, the kind of poverty that we are going to consider is income poverty, where people cannot even get the basic necessities of material well-being. Then we come to the concept of absolute and relative poverty. Absolute poverty is defined as a phenomenon when a section of the society is unable to get even the basic necessities of life and thereby is unable to have a minimum standard of living. Basic necessities of life, that is food, clothing, and shelter. So, on the other hand, what is relative poverty? Relative poverty refers to the phenomenon when the income needed for consumption expenditure of a section of the society is distinctively below the average income level of the society. So, it refers to a situation of falling behind most other members of the community. It is related to distribution of income or distribution of consumption expenditure in society. That is where a particular section of society in comparison to another section of society cannot have the same standard of living and cannot get all the things that they are enjoying. They may get the basic necessities of life, but they are just able to get those basic necessities of life. They do not have all the comforts. They do not have plenty of things. So comparatively, that particular section of society in comparison to the other section will be considered to be relatively poor. So thus absolute poverty is different from relative poverty, because a person who cannot get even the basic necessities of life and can earn that minimum level of income with the help of which he can get those basic necessities of life is known to be absolutely poor, while he is relatively poor if he belongs to a bottom income group such as poor as 10%. So in India, the concept of poverty has been considered mainly in absolute sense. So we are going to mainly consider poverty in the sense of absolute poverty in our chapter. Coming to the concept of poverty and poverty line in India. In India, the concept of poverty has been defined basically in reference to the food intake, that is the minimum nutritional requirement. So people who are able to intake that minimum nutrition are said to be living above poverty line, and the one who are not even able to get that minimum nutritional requirement are said to be living below poverty line. Poverty as such has been defined as that situation in which an individual fails to earn sufficient income to buy him bare means of subsistence. And what do we mean by bare means of subsistence? By bare means of subsistence, we mean physical quantities of cereal, pulses, milk, butter, etc., which provide the minimum nutritional level of subsistence. And the concept of poverty line has been defined in India as the poverty line has been defined largely in terms of food poverty. Poverty line or food poverty level indicates income level which is just sufficient to buy the basic minimum quantity of food and a few select non-food items. So the determination of poverty line involved the following steps. First of all, poverty line is no line that is drawn as such. This is an imaginary line which is based upon these things like intake of minimum nutrition and earning that minimum income level with the help of which a person can buy that minimum quantity of food. So the first step in this is the poverty line or poverty level is determined in terms of minimum nutrition level of food energy required for subsistence, and according to the Planning Commission of India in 1978 originally the nutritional requirements were fixed up at 2400 calories per person per day for rural areas and 2100 calories for urban areas. So people who are able to get this much amount of calories from the food that they are consuming are said to be living above poverty line, and if they do not even get this much amount of calories from the food, that means they are living below poverty line. Second is cost of purchasing the consumption basket, that is about 650 gram of food grains, which would provide the minimum calorie intake. It is estimated by using price indices separately for rural and urban areas. Thirdly, we have poverty line is identified in terms of per capita consumption expenditure required to get the minimum calorie intake. Thus, poverty line is set at a level of consumption expenditure per person required for the minimum calorie intake, which was initially estimated at rupees 62 per person per month for rural areas and about rupees 71 for urban areas. Since then, the Planning Commission has been estimating poverty line every year and adjusting for increase in the prices of food grain. So all those persons who cannot undertake consumption expenditure required for the minimum calorie intake fall below the poverty line and are said to be belonging to the BPL families, that is below poverty line. So they are identified as poor, and the extent of poverty is measured by a head count ratio. Now what do we mean by head count ratio? That is estimating the number of persons whose overall per capita consumption expenditure is below the poverty line and measuring them as the proportion of population. Fifthly, per capita consumption expenditure, which is required for minimum calorie intake, will obviously change with change in prices. Over the years, it has been changing. So initially in the year 2004-2005, the poverty line for a person was fixed up at about rupees 447 per month for rural areas and 579 for urban areas, because in urban areas the prices are higher. So the amount that was required to be spent was more. Then in 2011-2012, as inflation was taking place, poverty line was increased to rupees 816 for rural areas and rupees 1000 for urban areas due to increase in prices as per the recommendations of Professor Tendulkar Committee. However, Rangarajan, the former RBI governor, has put the poverty line at rupees 972 a month for rural areas and rupees 1407 a month for the urban areas for the year 2011-2012. 12. That is, this much amount a person should be spending to purchase the food which will give that minimum calorie intake which is required for a person. Now children, various estimates about the magnitude of poverty in India. This is not in our syllabus. We don't have to do that. Even the nature and extent of poverty in India, we are not doing this also. This is also not a part of our syllabus. Now directly, the thing that we have in our syllabus, we come to that. That is the vicious circle of poverty. Now what do we mean by vicious circle of poverty? By vicious circle of poverty, we mean that this points at certain reinforcing forces and factors which act and react upon each other in such a manner that a poor country remains poor or a poor person remains poor. So defining the vicious circle of poverty, we say it refers to a situation of self-reinforcing forces in which there are certain factors that are related in a circular way so as to relate in continuation of poverty and underemployment. Now because these factors are said to be related in a circular way, we call it the vicious circle of poverty. In the words of Nerks, vicious circle of poverty implies a circular constellation of forces tending to act and react upon one another in such a way as to keep a poor country in a state of poverty. By these definitions of poverty, vicious circle of poverty, we basically mean that one negative factor produces reaction in terms of another negative factor, and these negative forces operate both as the cause and effect, making the process circular. And the process is not only circular but it is cumulative in nature, in the sense that economic level of the person goes on getting lower. A situation of this kind, where we call it to be a vicious circle of poverty, can be summed up in the form of the proposition: a country is poor because it is poor. And we can identify a number of vicious circles operating in underdeveloped countries, and three such main vicious circles we are not going to discuss now. One is known as the supply side of vicious circle of poverty, where the vicious circle operates from the supply side of capital formation. Secondly, we have the demand side of capital formation, and thirdly, we have the underdeveloped human and natural resources, because of which a country remains poor and it gets trapped, and there are these forces which act and react upon each other in a circular manner, keeping an underdeveloped country underdeveloped and poor. So these are the diagrams of the vicious circle of poverty, from where we will understand all three concepts of vicious circle of poverty. So coming to the first one, where the vicious circle operates from the supply side of capital formation, it says that as a country is underdeveloped, because of underdevelopment, the productivity that is associated with it will also be low, because they are underdeveloped. So they have those backward techniques that they are using, they are not able to efficiently utilize the resources, so the productivity is low. Now when the productivity is low, it leads to low real income. Now when income will be low, most of it is going to be spent in purchasing the goods belonging to the basic necessities of life, so the level of saving is low. Now saving is a base of investment, so if level of saving will be less, the level of investment will also be less. If investment is less, as such capital formation is less, and there is a deficiency of capital, and if there is a deficiency of capital, it further leads to underdevelopment. So this is how these forces act and react upon each other to keep an underdeveloped country underdeveloped and poor. Second type of vicious circle operates from the demand side of capital formation, where we say again the same point, that because of underdevelopment, the productivity is low, as backward technology is used, we do not have efficient means of production, proper and efficient and full utilization of resources do not take place, because of which it results into low real income. Now when real income is low, the purchasing power also tends to be low, so demand is also low. Because of low demand, the amount of investment that will be done will also be less, because investment also depends upon the level of aggregate demand in the economy, so this also will be low. When investment will be low, it will lead to capital deficiency, because only investment leads to capital formation. So if investment is low, there will be capital deficiency, and this will make an underdeveloped country further, or it will push more towards underdevelopment or poverty, and will not let that country come out of the state of poverty. So the country gets trapped into this vicious circle of poverty. Now, third explanation of vicious circle of poverty, we have underdeveloped human and natural resources. Because of underdevelopment, the resources are not properly utilized to their fullest extent. We are not able to make use of the human resources and other resources, and because these resources are not properly utilized, they are underutilized or unutilized, economically people remain backward, they remain illiterate, they lack in technical skill and knowledge, and this backwardness further leads to underdevelopment. So these three circular forces are showing us the vicious circle of poverty in three ways, that how because of one factor it leads to another, how they act and react upon each other, and a poor country remains poor. So that's all for today, children. Based on this, the homework assignment that you have to do is your very short answer question number 1, that is differentiate between absolute and relative poverty. Very short answer question number 2 and 3, how do you define poverty in India and what is poverty line, poverty line defined in India. And then we have long answer question number 2, which says a country is poor because it is poor. Explain this statement in terms of the vicious circle of poverty. So this being a long answer question, you have to explain this in detail with all the three diagrams and all the three aspects of vicious circle of poverty. Thank you.